It's Monday, December 26th, 2022, and this is episode 273 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Mike, how are things going? I know you were able to make a trip to Diamond Joe Worth here recently.
Yeah, I went last weekend. It was good, fun. I was so anxious to go because I hadn't been in a while. And then this week we got a blizzard going through. So
yeah, it sounds like you're not alone. That's the big news right now. Is
yeah,
it hitting everybody just in time for Christmas?
Yeah, the wind's blowing about 25, 26 miles an hour here, and the snow in the backyard and the cornfield is swishing around like crazy.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So I probably won't be going this weekend.
Yeah. It's Christmas weekend anyway. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going anyway. But maybe next week if the weather lightens up a little bit. There's one day it's forecast to be 35. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, you'll be able to. Good.
Well, I can wear shorts.
On this last trip, you finally cashed in the sports tickets that we had left over from our meetup. And it turned out to be a win. What did we make? Like a $41 profit on the sports tickets for that weekend?
Yep, $41.
41. Mark. So for those who've been waiting anxiously to hear how we did on sports that weekend, we won $41.
$41. It kind of didn't offset our losses, but all right, whatever.
No, but hey, it means we're smart when it comes to betting on sports, isn't that right, Dr. Mike?
Yeah, right. We had a good day yesterday too.
Yeah, we have had some good days here. We're keeping our head above water. We're waiting, right? So we're doing okay right now. No big losses, no huge wins.
Well, I got all three of my football picks right yesterday.
Yeah, thank goodness you did. It probably would have been a losing day if you hadn't made all of your correct picks yesterday. So good. Congratulations.
Yeah, we'll see how the day goes.
All right, well, let's get started. We got an email from our buddy Robin at Anytime Gambling. He had a nice hit on one of his casino ventures. And he asked this, when you get a big advantage in your session bankroll, how much would you spend on a status points multiplier day? In other words, one of those days where you're getting, 5 times tier credits or something like that, something that would help you move up in the tier structure for whatever casino you're at. And he goes on, I know it's not good to chase status levels, but would you A, set a loss limit, B, play down to even, or C, keep playing into your original bankroll? And Mike, I'll let you answer what you think here, but I would say D, none of the above.
Yes, I agree with you. D, none of the above. Because what's your reason for chasing a point multiplier, trying to get a higher status? What's it going to do for you?
Yeah, especially when it comes to tier status. Now, jumping up in tiers can sometimes help, but again, this is not house money, right? This is your money.
Your money.
He had hit big on video poker. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I wouldn't be chasing tier status at all. I would just keep playing the way that you normally do. Now, if it was reward credits, or in other words, the credits that actually spend like money, then maybe I might have a different answer. But, I don't know. It's one of those things where, again, this is your money. Now, I know I'm kind of hypocritical when it comes to house money versus your money because, okay, yes, I'm going to get a 4 pressed up to $2,500, because it keeps hitting when I would never go up to a table and just put out $2,500. So, that is my money. So I know how that goes. But I don't know. I treat that a little bit differently. I think of that as like a hot craps roll. In this case, you've got the money. Yeah, don't be thinking in terms of, I've really got to increase my play here to take advantage of this multiplier. You're there, gamble the way that you normally do. You just happen to be there on a multiplier day and you're getting the benefit from that. That would be my advice.
Yeah, and I think the only reason to do something like maybe gambling a little more or a little looser than you would normally on a multiplier day would be if you were maybe like really close to the next tier.
Right, if you were close, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really close and I just need, X amount of points and that would be the day to get them because they multiply, then yeah, you might do that, but still probably not the best idea. I'm with you if it was for something you can actually use, like use as cash, then yeah,
Use as cash, right? If there was some giveaway that you were
yeah,
already close to.
yeah,
And certainly if you were playing machines, you'd be able to track that and
right,
know exactly how much you need to play to get to that level.
right. It's a little harder with table game because you're kind of uncertain how you're getting rated and what you're getting. And that would be one reason not to do that on a table game, right? Because you might
Right.
think you're getting a lot of points and then you might find out you didn't get that many.
I'd constantly be asking the floor, hey, how am I getting rated? Or can you
Right.
roll me over and see exactly how many tier credits I have right now, or whatever. But
Whatever.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I would go with D, definitely. I guess the best advice would be just play the way you regularly play for the time you want to play and the amount you want to play, right?
Yeah, that's kind of that's general advice from us.
Yeah, but
Is
it's just,
don't change your gambling for some reason other than you enjoy gambling,
right.
with a few caveats. But yeah.
Yeah, just let the chips fall where they may, so to speak.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
Nice for
yeah.
pulling that in. Very good. All right. Well, I hope that answers your question, Robin. We also got an email from listener Chris. This is kind of interesting about a golf, kind of like a golf pool or fantasy league. So let me just read his email here. I don't remember you ever talking about these one and done golf fantasy leagues, but they are a lot of fun. Participants pick a single golfer every week for that week's tournament under a one and done format. Participants may not pick any one golfer more than once. So that's like through a full season. Participants receive 1 point for each dollar in prize winnings accumulated by golfers they pick. The player with the most points at the end of the season wins. So, for example, the 1.476 million win by Cameron Smith at the Century Tournament of Champions earns all Smith backers 1,476,000 points. The catch, of course, is that you can only pick each golfer once throughout the year. I thought that was pretty interesting. Instead of just, getting a win, you actually get points based on how much the golfer won.
Right.
And I suppose you could kind of make different rules like, okay, you only get the points if your golfer wins the tournament, as opposed to maybe you get points for any cash that the golfer comes in second place.
Yeah,
and gets, like 200,000. So you get 200,000 points.
Right. I think that'd be the way to go. Pick a golfer and you get whatever, even if he finishes 32nd and he, wins whatever 100,000, you get 100,000 points.
Yeah, I think that would be better too. But I don't know. Sometimes it might get a little complicated. You got to really keep track, and I guess there's sites that help you, run these tournaments. And in fact, Chris even sent us a link to one that does it.
But it's a year-long thing, so you could just keep track of points as the year goes on, and that might influence which golfer you pick which week.
Right.
Because some tournaments pay more than others, and
who do you save for the real big tournaments?
Right. Maybe you want to save Cameron Smith for a big tournament, and use a lesser ranked golfer for like some smaller tournament. So it's interesting. There's a lot of strategy to that. You kind of have to look at the whole season and see the whole picture, who you're going to save and who you're going to play where, and who does good on what course, because certain players tend to favor a course and finish higher on a particular course.
Right. Which golfer is more prone to injury?
Right.
So it's like, oh, I better use him before he's out for the season.
Yeah, right. Where
things like that.
Gets hurt, or, which golfer is going to skip a tournament. Because they don't, not everybody plays in every tournament. So, you might think, oh, I'm saving so-and-so for this, and then he doesn't play in it for some reason.
Yeah, I like that. We're always interested in hearing about new sorts of sports pools. And this one was new to us. So thanks again for letting us know, Chris. All right, we also got an email from listener Jake. This is pretty interesting, Mike. I'm sure you'll have a few things to say about this. My cousins and I recently got back from a trip out to Vegas and wanted to get your thoughts and perhaps a word of caution for those playing bubble roulette at the Cromwell. We would generally consider ourselves low rollers, and we ended up finding a $1 minimum roulette machine at Cromwell. I put $100 into the machine, made sure my rewards card was in, and then happened to see a cocktail waitress, so I gave her my drink order. I looked down and my balance was at $75. Confused, I ended up pressing the call attendant button to find out what was going on. I look down again and my machine only has $50 left. I immediately cash out. The attendant comes over and explains that the machine is set up to repeat the last bet that the individual machine made, and there was no way to undo that. You have to manually take down your bets after every spin, otherwise it will default to what was previously bet, whether it was you or the person who used the machine before you. This didn't feel right to me. I pleaded my case and had them call their supervisor over, to which they had the same explanation of, yep, that's just how this game works. Didn't offer to give me a free play voucher or to reimburse the money that I had lost. Because my cousins wanted to keep playing, I ended up putting $1 on the 0 and double zero, just in case I forgot to take down my bets. Worst case scenario, I lose $1 instead of $25 per spin. It's the only bubble roulette machine in the casino, towards the back of the casino. Have you ever heard of this happening? Was I in the wrong to think that this wasn't right and plead my case to the attendant/manager? We were miffed by the situation and ended up playing until our drinks came and then never returned the rest of our trip. What do you think of that, Dr. Mike?
Well, that's crazy is what I think. It's ridiculous that it would carry over from another player.
You would think that two cases would just clear all bets. Number one, if there's a cash out of any kind.
Right.
That would be one, cash out of any kind. Number two, if the balance got below the amount required to actually make the bets.
Right.
Maybe on the next spin or something like that. But to care now, because, the machine doesn't necessarily know that there's a new person there.
Right.
But certainly a cash out or a balance going down to zero would be enough of an indication the machine could figure it out. We have never heard of this, and that's terrible.
Well, the thing about it, too, is even when you're playing, roulette is one of those games where some people bet the same 2 or 3 numbers every time, right? Other people like to goof around and bet different numbers. So let's say you bet 5 numbers, and then after that roll, you want to bet different numbers. Well, you got to take all those bets down and then re-bet.
I don't know what the interface is, but a lot of these machines do have a button to remove all bets. They also have a button to say, make the same bet, on this next one. It'd be nice if maybe there was a selection on the machine where it was perpetual or something like that. And maybe there was in this case. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you think if you made 5 bets and let's say none of them came up, they lost, why would the machine rebet those same numbers next time for the same amount?
Well,
I mean, automatically.
I understand, but it's kind of like place bets, though, in craps, right?
Uh-huh.
What if you're at a bubble craps machine and you've got a place bet on the 6 and 6 comes up? Well, do you want them to take the 6 down?
Well, no, because it didn't lose.
Oh, I see what you're saying. On losing, losing bets. Oh, yeah. Right, okay, of course.
Right,
Sure,
it stays up if it wins. Like if you picked number 3 and 3 came up. You collect your money and, maybe it stays up. But if it lost in real roulette, they take it, right? And then you got to make more bets. They don't just say, oh, you're stuck with those 5 numbers.
Right. I would think that the machine would at least have a button that says same bet. So what it should do, is take all losing bets down.
Right.
And then you should be able to hit the same bet button. It would put them all back up. Anyway, we're kind of going beyond the scope of the real problem here. And the real problem is there shouldn't be any carryover when there's a change from one person to another. And although the machine can't be smart enough to absolutely know that there's a new person there, it should assume, again, if there's been a cash out or if the balance has gone, below the amount of the bets.
Yeah, I wonder what the person who designed this was thinking, who did the software.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, are they thinking, wow, I can really sell this to casino because they're going to make a lot of money on someone steps up, put their $100 in, turns around to order a drink, and then they're down $25.
Well, a lot of times, when we see software on some of these table game machines, there's always a little something that's not quite like a real table game.
Yeah.
Even with craps, kind of like, the buy bets Or, oh, it's triple odds. Okay, fine, it's triple odds. But then when you're on the don't, you're only able to put 3 times the amount for odds, when the don't should be different, right? The payout should be 3 times. Just little things like that where it's clear that the developers or whoever designed it doesn't quite get the game, or maybe there's a handoff to developers who don't quite get the game.
Yeah, I just don't understand how these companies work. I mean, if I owned a company and we were game design or something, I'd make sure that they knew exactly how to play that game, 100% before they went and designed one. So it didn't have weird things in it like this. And Cromwell should be ashamed. If I was the host and I went over and there's no sign telling you about this, I would say, okay, let's refund him his money. Now he knows.
At least free play.
Yeah,
at least free play. Right. I agree with you there. Shame on Cromwell in that case. Yes.
And to avoid that situation, really, obviously the casino knows about it. They should have a sign up there that says, all bets repeat, even from the last shooter, you idiots.
Should be flashing. It should be the voice on the machine. Yeah. Just a reminder, your bets stay up, dipstick.
Oh, I don't know what the gaming board thinks about that, but it's kind of manipulative, I think.
Yeah, you might have a case if you went to gaming with something
especially
like that.
Especially a $1 roulette table, because who's that going to draw? That's going to draw somebody who is not playing with a lot of money. No guy, wanting to bet $100 a number is going to be playing that. And it's probably, new people coming to Vegas, a young couple or something who, $1, great. We can put $20 in here and it'll last for, ever. And then
next roll it's gone.
Yeah, next roll it's gone. I mean, it's kind of a trap, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we can be super cynical and say, oh, it's intentional so that the casino gets more money. But I think it's just bad design.
Yeah, I think it's bad design. And I think the casino, once they know that, then it's their fault. They should probably either warn people in some manner or just to get rid of the machine or have the software changed. Yeah. That is a very frustrating thing.
Well, stay tuned. We may revisit this if we get more information.
We will start a big lawsuit, Mark.
Oh, okay.
Is what we'll do. A class action lawsuit.
Oh, you and I are going to start it, even though we haven't been affected by this yet.
Right. Well, that's easy to get affected by it. We'll just go and pretend we don't.
Yeah, that's true. We'll do it. Yeah. All right. We'll reach out to our lawyer friends.
Or this, Mark. How about we just don't have one of these machines in our casino?
Okay, let's put that down. You're keeping a list of everything that our casino is going to need, right? Yeah. Or have. Yeah. Okay, so add this to this. No bubble roulette machine where the bets stay up.
Yeah, that's going to be our slogan. That's going to be our. That's going to be on the email, the mass email that we send out to everybody.
Yeah. Send me that list when you have a chance. Just email it to me. I'm anxious to see the list that you've created.
I'll send you the list and a picture of all the T-shirts I've designed.
Oh, good. Thanks, Dr. Mike. Always working for the podcast. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. But first, hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right. First up is DC. What we'll do, he's got a lot of questions for us. So we're going to go ahead and pause his phone call after each question so we can talk about it rather than trying to remember everything at the end. And, this way we won't have to remember anything. Yeah. It's for our own benefit.
Yeah, it's for our own benefit. At our age, we deserve that.
All right. Here's DC.
Hello. Good morning, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is DC from the Central Valley. First of all, thank both of you for such a great, awesome podcast. I started listening to You Can Bet on That on September the 6th of this year and listened to all your episodes up until the most recent one in November. I started listening to your podcast because of Color Up. I would like to say both of you have put on a great podcast and congratulations on your recent 10-year anniversary of the podcast. Although I live in the Central Valley, I was telling myself I'm going to have to make a trip to Southern California, although I'm a low roller, but have to go shoot craps with you guys. And then come to find out Dr. Mike moved out of the state. But hopefully everything's going for him. And if he ever knows ahead of time that he's going to come back to Southern California and you guys are going to meet up and shoot craps, hopefully you guys will let us in on the loop and hopefully we can make that trip to hopefully go out and shoot craps with you guys someday.
Okay, so yes, we will definitely let you know next time Dr. Mike is out this way. Mike, you were saying maybe February?
Yeah, maybe February. It's my daughter's birthday and my birthday that month, and she wanted to go visit her friends, and I said, well, maybe we'll go and stay for a few days. So we'll see.
All right. So, yeah, we'll definitely let people know, though. And if it turns out to be like a last minute thing, just check on Twitter. We'll definitely put some information there. But maybe February, that might be the next one. Okay.
Why is it I've noticed my cousin, who's a low tier than me, at times gets better deals on rooms in great places like Vidara compared to me, who's a gold member, etc.?
Yeah, sometimes the marketing departments will try to go after relatively new players, maybe new players that don't really have a lot of points with the casino's players club yet, but they're thinking, oh, let's put something out to entice them to come. So sometimes you'll get that sort of ironic situation where somebody who's hardly given them any play at all is getting a better offer than you, who's put in a lot of time at their casino.
Right.
We do see that a lot. That won't continue if your friend were to actually show up and play a little bit, take advantage of one of these offers, and continues to still play the same way that he does. Then his offers will kind of dry up.
Yeah, they're hoping to get you hooked on, oh, I like that place. They gave me good offers. I'll go back. And once they realize that you are somewhat hooked, your offers are going to go down.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, it's a marketing strategy.
Yep, exactly.
And then I got a question. Does it make a difference if I'm staying at an MGM resort, for example, Excalibur? I play there, but maybe spend most of my playing time at MGM. Will I get more reward specials from MGM compared to Excalibur for all the same? Or do you guys suggest it's probably best for me to gamble at the place I'm staying or try to spend all my gambling at one place? What advice can you guys give on this?
In general, you will most likely get more offers or better offers from the actual property where you put in the most play. That's in general. It's going to depend on the different companies and what have you. Yeah, if you're talking about MGM and Caesars, where you can play at a bunch of different places, you may get offers from properties you've never even stayed at. But in general, yes, if there's a particular property where you want to get offers and some of the better offers, put most of your play in at that property.
Right. And also, if you have a host at that property and you play there more, they're more likely to do something for you. As opposed to, let's say, you're playing a lot at Caesar's Palace, but then you call up Planet Hollywood because you want to stay there. The host there may not be as welcoming or give you as much as, say, the host at Caesar's would, because he knows your play and you've been there a lot.
Yeah, and the players' clubs differ quite a bit.
Yes.
Here we're talking Caesars, MGM, Boyd. They all have their own plan. But I think in general, play where you want the
right.
offers.
It's one of those things, and we've talked about this before with like rules and stuff. They're owned by the same people, but they work on different rules. They have things set up differently, and I think that goes for the table games and the rules and the limits, and also for the booking and the hotel stays and food comps and all that.
Yep. Yeah.
Another thing is, I have to say how times have changed. I don't know if you guys ever remember back in the day, years ago, when a lot of liquor stores here within, I'm sure up and down California, I know here in the Central Valley, because I've seen it firsthand, they would have these quarter pushing machines where you would like put the quarter in and the quarter would fall down, and hopefully it would land good enough to where it pushes out more quarters. And eventually the state ended up cracking down on these stores and these machines because in their mind, it was taken away from money being spent in California as far as buying lottery tickets and so forth.
Yeah, these machines, you don't see them really in casinos anymore, only because people aren't using coins on the machines anymore. But these were called coin pushers or flip it machines. You'd put a quarter in and the machine would shoot a quarter up into this big pile of other quarters, and there were these arms that were constantly pushing on the quarters, and maybe a bunch would drop down for you. I think they still have those like at Dave and Buster's and Chuck E. Cheese or something for tokens, right? But they're gone for casinos. But Mike, no, I never saw these in California at any bars or anything. Did you?
No, not in Southern California.
Yeah,
I never saw any in San Diego anyway, or L.A. Yeah. But remember when every casino had one, right?
Oh,
every
yeah, sure. Yeah.
At least one.
Yeah. So, yeah, DC, I'm surprised to hear that they had them, but I'm not surprised that they went away, because I think not even the state thinking, oh, people aren't buying lottery tickets. I think they would be illegal if you actually looked at the law, that these are gambling machines that would have been illegal under the law anyway. So.
Well, are they gambling machines?
Well, I mean, you tell me, Mike. You put in one quarter, you either lose it, you get one quarter back, or you get a bunch of quarters back.
But it's not.
What's the definition there?
It's not in any way set, right? Like a slot machine is set to pay out 98% or.
But then, a craps table isn't set either, right?
No, yeah.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. There might be a legal argument saying, oh, these aren't gambling machines.
Right. It's just
But if you ask me, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I would say they're gambling machines.
Yeah, I mean, we all think of them that way, but I do kind of miss them. There were ones that had quarters. There were ones that had 50-cent pieces. Yeah, I always liked those because they're bigger, and that thing, would pile up in there. And
I know, and you'd see the quarters kind of off the edge, like, how are they even staying on there? Right. And your quarter would go up, and you think, well, it's obviously going to push something. No, it just get pushed into the stack.
Yeah, it just gets pushed into the stack. Well, obviously, there's some adhesive, spray adhesive on the edge to hold them a little longer. They have to really get a big tug to fall off.
Okay. So these were not just gambling machines, but rigged gambling machines is what you're saying. Okay.
If anything could be easily rigged, it would be that.
What's the smallest bankroll you walked up to a table and turned it into a bankroll? And what was the buy-in and what was this at?
Well, for me, of course, it was at Caesar's Palace, those fours. I started with $25 that I think I borrowed from you, Mike.
Yep.
Made a hard way bet. And then, got a 4 up to $5,000, and it hit what I cashed out for like 17,000, something like that.
Right.
So that was my biggest extreme. What about you, Dr.
$25 to 17,000? That's going to be a little hard to beat. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
Extreme. I don't know.
But maybe going back to like our early days when we didn't have a lot of money, can you think of didn't you hit like a big blackjack run at Silver City or something?
I hit a big blackjack run at Silver City. I want to say, though, maybe it might have been at Paigao in San Diego at Sequan.
Oh, you just got on a run?
Yeah, it was me, Paul, and Mary. And I think I had bought in for like $200 maybe. And, ended up cashing out with like 15,000 or something.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It was a big run one night. And Mary and Paul and I, we just could not lose. It seemed like the dealer was getting really crappy hands and we were getting good hands. And if the dealer get a good hand, we'd get better hands. We all three won a bunch, but I was pressing hard and, went from like $10 bets to like $500 bets or something. So it might have been that. To be honest, I don't know for sure, but that's one I remember that was a big win. Well, maybe when that trip we were down and I put the money in the slot machine.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. It was, we were at Bellagio.
Yeah, I didn't have very much money.
We were virtually out of money.
I put like $20 in that slot machine and cashed out for 15,000. So, I guess that would be there.
Yeah.
Another question. Does it work when you slip the attendant like a $20 for them to upgrade you to a real more upper grade room? I've heard this from a couple people in the past. They said that when you go to check in, to just kind of slip whoever, the attendant checking you in a 20 and let them know that, you're looking for an upgrade and that usually it works.
Yeah, this is known as the $20 trick. You hear about it a lot on other podcasts as well. The idea is you kind of slip the check-in person like $20 when you're giving them your credit card or something like that. And maybe even say, is there anything else available, or maybe you don't say anything. But we've heard that it usually works. There's talk about, that's your first bet when you're going on a trip to, say, Las Vegas. You're gambling. You're going to give 20 and, see if you get anything from that. And a lot of times, they'll upgrade you to a nicer room or, better room with a view, something like that.
I don't know. Is that worth it?
Well, I mean, not to you because you're getting everything comped.
Right. But I mean, to anybody, I mean, how much time are you going to spend in the room? I guess what it boils down to.
See, I think you're looking at it just through Dr. Mike's eyes.
Right, I am.
Because there are plenty of people who, love the room and, the view and just sitting and relaxing. And we have heard at least that this trick usually does work. Sometimes nothing, but usually it does. So.
It'll work anywhere. Money always gets you something, right? I mean, in a restaurant, tip the host something. You'll get a quicker seating or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
A question. am I getting double the tier credits when it's one account? I'm the primary, but for example, I'm at the craps table and my wife is at the slot machine. We both have my card. It's both our two cards, my name, but she's playing at the slots. I'm playing at the craps table. So I was wondering to see if we're racking up double the points, or is that pointless?
Many casinos, players clubs will allow spouses to play on the same card. It'll depend on the players club, of course. And yes, in most cases, DC said double the points, but what he really is meaning is he going to earn points when he's at the table at the same time his wife? Is she going to be earning points at the slot? Yes, in most cases, if it is a casino that allows you to play on the same card, you're going to be earning points at both places.
There are some that discourage.
This is not the case, right? That it might not be every place, but I think the big ones, and don't quote me on this, like Caesars, like MGM, I think you will earn points at both locations.
Well, when you were playing at two different crap tables at Diamond Joe, did you get credit for both of those?
Yeah, so if you recall, I was playing at a real craps table, and then right behind me was a roll to win, and I had put my card in there. And in fact, one of the floor came over and actually, looked and, I saw there was a card in there. Oh, you're playing that? Oh, okay. He had no problem with it. And I mean, I certainly was earning points on the roll to win. I could actually see it. And unless he actually clocked me out of the regular craps table, which I doubt, I'm sure I was earning points.
Well, I mean, think about it. If I owned a casino, and when we do own our own casino, Mark, I encourage playing it.
Okay, add that to the list.
I mean, I have an edge on both games, right? If I own the casino, of course I want you to play.
That's right.
You get 30 cards and you put them all in there if you want.
I don't know about 30, but okay, maybe we limit it to like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
And then another thing was advice, I don't know for your listeners, but at least for MGM rewards, I went to my birthday in January, and then the lady tells me that if I was to go within all the MGM properties and tell them it's my birthday month, that they will all give me some kind of play credit, $20, $30. The best one I was given was $50 from Aria, which was surprisingly. But hey, jumping around and getting free play, why not?
Okay, there's some great advice.
That's a good idea.
I had not heard that. A lot of times we will get birthday bonuses, either in reward credits or tier credits or something like that. But yeah, DC is saying, at least with MGM properties, go to each one, go up to the Players Club counter and say, hey, it's my birthday. Do I get anything for it?
Wow.
And you may get something from each location.
That's pretty
great.
Good, because usually they have something in there like, oh, you already redeemed your birthday gift or something, right? But hey, if that's the case, definitely.
I hardly use Twitter, but I noticed you guys are on Instagram, which I don't think I've ever heard you guys mention you had an Instagram account. So I am following you guys on Instagram because I use Instagram a lot. But I wanted to know if that is an actual Instagram account that belongs to you guys, or am I being tricked in following an account that doesn't belong to you guys?
Well, I don't know if you're being tricked, but no, we are not on Instagram. Yes, there is an account called You Can Bet on That. I don't know if they know about us or came up with it on their own. But no, when we were first setting up social media, Instagram was one that I either missed or there was already an account that said You Can Bet on That. And I didn't want to come up with some other name that was close, like You Can Bet on That podcast. Or I just wanted to keep things simple. Just You Can Bet on That wherever you go. And so, no, we just never got on the Instagram. And I don't know. I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to get onto too much social media because it kind of overwhelms me. And I know people are probably rolling their eyes like, just get on Instagram. Whatever. We're on Twitter. That's where you'll find most of the stuff. We're kind of on Facebook. We're not on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm going to ask my daughters about this. I don't have Instagram, but they do. I'm going to go to that You Can Bet on That and see what they're saying.
Yeah, see what's on there. I don't think it's very interesting. I looked at it recently. Didn't see.
Oh, really? It wasn't anything. It's gambling related, though?
No, I didn't see anything.
Okay.
So. To finish off my call, did the podcast ever pay royalties to Dr. Mike's daughters for their lending of their voices for the number to call in? Just wondering.
No, they didn't get royalties because they were playing with that stupid ball. Well, that bounces there. You hear it, when they say it.
And also, they are getting royalties in a sense, Mark. They get fed every day. they get clothed, they get
Yeah.
housed, they have
Yeah.
their college paid
Yeah.
for.
Really? That's coming out of
That's
podcast
coming
money?
out of podcast. It's coming out of my money.
Oh, that's news to me. Oh, okay. All right. Well, thanks for doing that. So, in other words, your daughters wouldn't be getting any of that if they hadn't done the little.
No, that was established right before they did that. That in order to maintain
okay.
their status in the family, they had to help out. Hey, don't put ideas in their head, DC. I'm going to be getting a phone call in about 2 days from one of them saying, "Wait a minute."
I'm going to take you a little bit down memory lane, see if you guys remember, but I made a karma donation for $14, if you remember this one, and also to make it wet. Also, another donation of $9.86, if you remember this one also, plus a 10-cent donation for Mark to try some top ramen. And here's another $5 donation for a Red Bull since they're not comp.
Yeah, he sent us this karma donation, and it was kind of an odd amount. And I'm thinking, well, what's going on? Then after I heard the call, it's like, oh, okay, it's a combination of all these things from the past, all the different karma donations and stuff we talked about from the past. So thank you.
I'd like
that,
the
DC.
10 cents for you to try ramen.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I wanted an energy drink this last time when I was at Diamond Joe.
Mhm.
It's treated like alcohol, I guess. You have to pay for that. It's not complimentary, no matter what your tier level is. So I used my drink card that they had given me and got Red Bull. They only have Red Bull.
Yeah. Well, remember we were at resorts. I ordered one and it was this big to do. It would have been easier for me to just order a beer or a mixed drink, but Red Bull, I'm going to have to go look into that. I'm going to have to get approval.
It's so funny. I mean, what's the difference between any energy drink there versus I guess it's a soft drink, a Coke or something they get out of the bar. But what's the difference between that and you ordered like a 7 and 7 or something?
Well, no, a beer,
right?
Because a beer comes in a bottle.
Well, there you go. Yeah, a beer, probably just as expensive. I assume they get all the energy drinks at a cheap price.
Well,
yeah,
since
they order a bunch of them.
Whatever. Special deal. Can I see your Players Club card? Sorry, sir, you're not at the correct tier level yet. You need to come on one of our multiplier days.
Really pound it hard. And then we'll get you one Red Bull. I don't like Red Bull because it's such a small can.
Yeah, I'd rather have like a Rockstar. It comes in a bigger can.
You feel like you're getting something. I don't know if there's the same amount of, I haven't checked for what's in it, but I just want the volume, right? I mean, I feel better. I feel better with volume.
Yeah, we all do, Dr. Mike.
I want to give a shout out to Color Up because it was thanks to him that I started listening over to your podcast. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. And like I said, this is DC from the Central Valley, and go Raiders.
Oh, man, he stuck it to us right at the end there.
I don't know if you've seen that thing about this last game when the Raiders played New England.
Oh, I was watching it live, my friend. No. It's the most amazing thing I've seen.
Yeah,
Not the game?
It was on Twitter what happened in the stands. So there's this guy in his New England jersey, and there's a woman, a Raider fan, and it's in Vegas, right? It's at the Raiders. And she harassed that guy the whole game, they say. Like in his face, Mark, not just yelling at him. I mean, she's right up in his face. And then at the end, of course, when, the Raiders win, she's just all over him, in his face and everything. And he never did anything. He never started a fight, never did anything. The guy's my hero. He stayed so calm. You got to see it on Twitter. It's amazing. I don't know if I could have done that. I mean, she was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can tell you wouldn't have been able to do that.
She was
I know you.
Space. I mean, you're invading my space, man. She was all over it. Her husband kept trying to pull her back. But yeah, check that out. It's pretty amazing.
All right.
Yeah, then New England, they're at a home game this week, and they've invited that guy to New England for the game. Yeah,
that's great.
And I assume he's a local guy that lived in Vegas, probably, or
sure,
maybe yeah, he might
who knows? But yeah, because a lot of fans.
Yeah, he could have traveled out there, but whatever. They made a big deal about inviting him for being such a cool dude. But yeah, that takes a lot of restraint.
Yeah. Well, thanks, DC, for all the great questions. And yes, definitely check out Jeremy over at the Color Up YouTube channel. A lot of great craps content there.
Those were great questions, DC. glad you called in with those. And I lived in Salinas for 7 years, so I know all about the Central Valley.
All right, but you never saw any of those flipping machines.
No, I was young when that happened, Mark. I wasn't.
Okay, you weren't in bars.
I wouldn't have probably even noticed.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, on You Bet on That. I love the show. This is Sonny from Sarasota, Florida. Just want to tell you about trips that I take, always to Biloxi and to Seneca and the whole 9 yards. My philosophy, when I heard that 270 across and how much it takes to say give in and whatnot, I like to go with the baseball term of at-bats. I give myself at least 3 at-bats around the table. I believe I will get a hit eventually with my at-bats. If I go for 2, I give myself a 3rd at-bat. If it's lukewarm, I sometimes give myself a 4th at-bat around the table. So I'm always looking to shoot the dice. So that's my theory on good, bad, or otherwise. I limit myself to 3 at-bats for sure, and sometimes a 4th at-bat throwing the dice. And then it's time for me to take a break either way, good or bad, get a bite to eat, a drink, socialize, and whatnot. All right, guys. Love the show. Keep it up. Peace out.
All right. Yeah, that's great. If you're disciplined, you can stick to it. Say, okay, I'm going to give it this many chances. It's kind of like we talked about last week. What do you do when it goes cold? Depends on if you're trapped at a single casino or if you have the option of going to other casinos. But that's good. Hey, once around the table or 3 shooters, whatever you're going to do. After that, if it's no good, don't even color up. Just take your chips, go get something to eat, play some video poker, take a break.
I think he was talking about 3 times around the table.
Could be. I mean, it's whatever you want to say.
Right.
Isn't that bat for you? Isn't that bat, once around the table, isn't that bat you actually getting to shoot?
Yeah.
Or isn't that bat each individual shooter? Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Yeah, if you can be disciplined like that, that's great.
Yeah,
not all gamblers are.
No.
And I'm not claiming that Dr. Mike and I are, but that's good advice.
I'll tell you what we're going to call that, though. We're going to call that the Jerry Coleman system.
All right. Jerry Coleman said Jerry Coleman was a very famous announcer for the Padres.
And very famous Yankee.
Yes, I know. That's right.
He was MVP in a World Series. Jerry Coleman had this thing that if a guy struck out 3 times in the same game, he called it getting the silver sombrero.
Yeah.
And if the guy struck out 4 times, was 0 for 4, all strikeouts, it was the golden sombrero.
And where did this come from? Any idea?
I
Jerry
have no
was
idea.
Kind of known for
Jerry called it all the time.
Weird.
Yeah, he got the silver sombrero, he got the golden sombrero, and anyone who listened to the broadcast, knew what he was talking about. But that was Jerry Coleman, so if you go 3 times around the table and nothing hits, silver sombrero and you're out of there.
Okay. All right. Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
The Jerry Coleman method.
All right. Next up is Matt.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Matt in Erie, Pennsylvania on a cold and brisk Tuesday night. Headed up to the casino and play some craps. And it was pretty dead tonight. It was just me and one other guy when I got to the table. He was in the middle of a pretty long roll. He did not make them all. He was 1 away. Eventually, he 7'd out and came to me, and I had my bonus bets, and I made them all for the first time in my life, which is no big deal, except I did it in 11 rolls. And the guys in the pit were dumbfounded. They've never seen anything that fast. The last 3 numbers I hit, which were 3, 9, and 10, came back to back to back, and they didn't have time to call upstairs, which they are supposed to do when it's 1 away. It happened so fast they didn't have time to, so there was a little bit of a stop down. There were some people that came down from above and were looking at things, and it was kind of surreal. It was just really, really fast, and I got my payout eventually, and that was pretty cool. So 11 rolls, I don't think I'll be able to beat that. That's pretty good, and maybe, Mark, you can figure out the stats on that. Thanks, guys.
Oh, man. I don't think I'm going to try to figure it out. But yeah, 11 rolls. There are only 10 numbers. So, you could conceivably hit the all in just 10 rolls. But he repeated only one of them and made them all. Wow, that's something.
Now, what number did he repeat, I wonder?
Yeah, we really need to know, Matt, what number was repeated? It's probably a 6 or an 8. Is that really important to you, Mike?
Well,
You
I
need to
hope it
know?
was one I had pressed.
He might not even remember, to be honest, right? Because he's just watching it go. So,
That's pretty
man,
impressive, though.
congratulations.
11
Yeah, it sure
rolls.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. What's the quickest you've ever seen, Mike? I mean, you've seen some fast ones, but any idea of what it might be?
I'd say more like 15 to 20-ish range.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 20.
Yeah.
Because 15, that's pretty good too. But yeah.
We've seen some pretty fast ones.
Yeah, it's got, that's the interesting thing about rolling it so fast is it's not necessarily a good roll yet.
No.
Right, depending on how you've bet, especially if you're doing like come bets.
Right. Yeah, or just if you placed them and maybe you pressed 1 or 2 or something, you haven't made that much money. And if you don't have the all tall, all small, then you didn't make anything. You're like, that's good a roll.
All right, last call.
Morgan, Dr. Mike. This is Brendan from Inglewood, Florida, formerly Brendan from Cleveland. Yes, I did move to Florida, and yes, I am still, unfortunately, a Browns fan. Anyway, I wanted to chime in with Hard Rock International now changing hands with MGM for the Mirage this week. And I can't help but see that some people are bad-mouthing the plans of the Seminole tribe, which being a Florida gambler, that's all we have down here, primarily the Tampa Hard Rock and Fort Lauderdale Hard Rock. And I keep seeing that a lot of Las Vegas visitors are obviously sad that the Mirage is gone, but don't think that the Seminoles are going to do a good job. And if you've ever made it to Florida, you would definitely be able to tell that they are going to knock it out of the park with the Mirage. So I cannot wait for them to take over the Mirage. I know it's bittersweet. Went on my honeymoon to the Mirage, so it does have a nostalgic effect for my wife and I. But I am very excited, and I think everyone else is going to be very excited too. I definitely think they are going to set themselves apart from the rest of the strip, and everybody will definitely be surprised. So just wanted to chime in there from a Floridian gambler, and I will definitely be trying to stay there whenever I can. Thanks, guys, for all you do. Merry Christmas.
Okay, well, yes, Hard Rock has already taken over the Mirage. The actual transition as far as what you will see is going to be slow and over the period of several years. So don't expect big changes right away. But yes, they're going to get rid of the volcano. Yes, they're going to build a big guitar-shaped hotel tower. And according to Brendan, it's going to be fantastic. So,
well, I liked it. He moved from a very cold area to a warm area that has craps.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to me, who moved from a very warm area to an extremely cold area without craps. One of us is an idiot.
Yeah, one of you is an idiot. It's either Brendan or you, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. I think Brendan's kind of smart, so I think it's me.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say anything. You're my friend. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Nathan, Brian Dancer, Brian and Sarah, Josh, and the boys over at Crap Vegas. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got that donation from DC that he talked about, all those weird amounts. Thanks again, DC. Also got a donation from Chris and Allison in Los Angeles. Karma donation going to Vegas December 16th through the 19th for a work party and wanted to send something along for all you guys do. Thanks so much. Well, hopefully you had a good trip. We also got a donation from podcast favorite John B. Karma donation headed to Vegas through December 27th for the annual Christmas trip. Good luck, John. We also got a donation from our friend from Canada, Patrick. He sent us an email. He's got this interesting theory about crapless craps, and he sent me a spreadsheet, and I'm starting to look into it. Basically, what Patrick is thinking is that if you bet on the extreme numbers. So remember, in crapless craps, you can actually make buy bets on the 2, 3, 11, and 12. Even though the house edge is not much different from some of the other buy bets on the table, he feels like he's getting rated better. And so maybe that's something to keep in mind and consider. Maybe the floor is just looking and, oh, yeah, man, those aren't very good bets. Well, it's not that they're bad bets. It's just that they're bets that are harder to hit
Right.
than some of the other numbers, right?
But when they do hit,
yeah, they get paid,
better.
close to odds, right? The 2 and 12 get paid 6-1 minus the VIG. So anyway, I'll get back to you on that, Patrick. I'm still kind of looking at the numbers, but thanks for the donation.
Yeah, and Patrick has done more Vegas trips this year than he ever has, right?
Yeah, it was like he was there each month.
Yeah.
Oh, there were tons of days that he was there. Yeah,
each month. He's my hero.
Good. Making up for, when he couldn't even get into the United States.
Right.
So,
way to go, Patrick.
Good job, Patrick. Yeah. And then finally, a donation from Troller Boy. He actually won. Tim put together the Better Life World Cup pool, and Troller Boy won. And so he's sharing his winnings with us. So thank you very much, Troller Boy. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings, and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat, but not on Instagram. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, I was curious about something.
All right.
What is your favorite holiday movie this time of year?
Christmas, not necessarily Christmas, but this time of year movie.
This time of year. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to not limit you. So this can be something that was on TV, something that was in the theaters, something that was from 1940 or, whenever. There's just anything. If you had to sit down and watch right now, what would it be?
Probably Die Hard.
Die Hard? Okay, yeah. That's a good one.
I surprised you, didn't I?
You did surprise me. I thought I knew what you were going to say, but now Die Hard I like.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say A Christmas Story.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been number 2 probably, and I usually do.
Yeah.
The nice thing about A Christmas Story is it's sort of episodic, right? There's this overall story of, the BB gun and everything,
right?
But you can just tune in at any point and just watch, the one scene to see what happens. That's what's great about that movie. Just have it on in the background, while you're having Christmas dinner. Yeah.
Did you see the new one?
We started watching it. We're about halfway through. So it seems to at least capture the same tone, the same mood. So yeah.
It is. Yeah. Watch the whole thing. It's pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I just liked the characters grown up.
Yeah.
They were kind of the same grown up as they were as kids.
Yeah. Right.
So that was kind of neat. I always like, of course, It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've seen it a million times, and Miracle on 34th Street.
Mike, I've seen It's a Wonderful Life once, and I had to rent a VHS tape to see it.
Really?
Yep. Even in the olden days when it was on all the time, I don't know. Somehow I just missed it.
I have it on disc if you want it.
No, I've got it on the DVR. I'll just watch a little bit more over the next few
really
days.
like that movie. It's got a good moral to it. Yeah. And then, of course, there's all the Hallmark Christmas movies.
There's all of them.
There's all of them.
2 million of them.
Yeah. And the nice thing about them is you know exactly what's going to happen about 2 minutes into it.
I think even before that. It's like an executive in some New York. She has to get called back to her hometown because there's something going on, and then finds love along the way. Yes.
falls in love with a guy who's kind of a jerk at first, or her adversary, but somehow they fall in love, and he ends up doing the right thing, and they get married at the end. So there's all those. But yeah, I enjoy this time of year watching all that stuff, and of course all the sports.
Oh yeah, it's great. Here we go, bowl season. And, this all the NFL, bunch of Saturday games, and
it's fabulous. I got NFL, I got college football bowl games, I've got college basketball like crazy, and hockey, and it's just a lot to watch. It takes up a lot of my time.
I'll bet it does, especially when it's minus 36 with a wind chill outside. So
yeah, I think right now it's minus 38. I'm getting ready to watch whatever bowl game starts at 2:00. I don't.
All right. Well, hopefully everybody had a great holiday, and we're going to talk to you after the new year. So happy New Year to everybody.
And thanks for all the support that you guys give us all throughout the year.
Absolutely. Our listeners, we're nothing without you guys.
I always look forward to seeing your name on my email. When your name pops up, when it says Mark Duvall, he forwards me something that somebody sent or said.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, from our email account. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes my day. I always like, oh, good. I'm curious to see what they're saying. So happy New Year, and enjoy this wonderful weather.
Yes. All right. Hey, it's going to be 80 here over the Christmas weekend.
I know.
80. Enjoy.
They said hottest place in the country, San Diego.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Did you guys see me? I was on fire tonight. Man, I can't wait to get back to the shore. God, I love gambling!